We have Aaron on, and Aaron would like to share some stories about mentors in his life.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. And one of the things that really excited me about your invitation was a chance to talk about um, some of the mentors I've had in my life and the importance I place on mentoring. When I was a new pastor straight out of graduate school, I went to a small church in upstate New York. We had 100 people in the church, maybe 125, but in worship there might be 50 or 60. And I came up pretty hard against the reality of working in a group of individuals uh, who are not all perfect. And my ideal of what the church could be ran up against the reality of what the church was. One of the neat things for me in the midst of all of that was when Judith and I were ordained, there was a man who delivered the charge to her. We were ordained on the same day and in two different services. And this man who delivered the charge to her was a retired pastor. He just recently retired from a church in Western New York and moved to Eastern New York. And he, in his charge to Judith, talked about taking care of body, mind, and spirit. And when the service was over, he made a beeline over to me and said, I want to, basically he said, I want to be your mentor.
What's so interesting that he found you?
Yeah, yeah. He sought me out, which is a real gift. And what we wound up doing is deciding that we would play racquetball twice a week, taking care of my body. And then on Fridays, after we played at noon, we went to Wendy's and we each got a junior bacon cheeseburger and a drink and fries. And we would talk about what ministry was like. And he'd ask me about my upcoming sermon, and he'd talk to me about troubles in the church, and he'd share some of the wisdom that he'd learned over the years that he was in ministry. And in some ways, I think he's what kept me going in that first congregation when I could have given up. I had a colleague who said, well, if you don't like this, then you might as well just get a job at McDonald's. And I thought, no, I can't do that. And what Chuck did was he said, you can do this. And he affirmed me and challenged me and was truly a mentor. So when we moved from upstate New York to North Carolina in 1998, I was sort of looking for another mentor and didn't find one right off the bat. It was
Note the difference. The first one came to you, you learned the benefit of it, and you sought one out.
Yeah. And so I was looking for a mentor, and this man emerged. He was the stepfather of a woman in my congregation, and his wife was her mother was in the process of dying with cancer, and I would go visit them in the hospital and then at home. And over time, Lynn and I developed a friendship that grew into a real mentor relationship where he would give me all of the wisdom that he'd learned from working in social services and sort of a parachurch ministry sort of thing where he worked with recovering addicts. And he passed on so much wisdom to me as well. One of the things that we would do is meet every week and talk about scripture. And he also talked to me about how important it was that it's not just all about you. He said, it's not about you. And it's not about people liking you. His point was, it's about what the Spirit of God is doing through you. And I carried that insight with me, although I didn't really fully sink in, because sometimes it takes a while for lessons that mentors pass on to us to sink in. Carried that with me up here to Northern Virginia. And in my 15 years at Emmanuel, I've had a number of people who've become part of what I would call a mentor network for me. And
team of mentors.
A team of mentors, right? A team of mentors. A little different than a team of rivals, but a team of mentors from various walks of life who have given me wisdom from their particular area of expertise. One of them who has helped coach me in being a sort of a CEO or a leader of an organization, joked with me one time when I said, it takes a village for me. It takes a village for me to learn, to teach me various things. He said, actually, for you, Aaron, it's more like a small town. And what I would say to all of you is, as you enter a career, as you consider a career, but certainly as you enter a career, look for someone who can help teach you the ropes and encourage you when you get discouraged. And throughout your life and your vocation, always be looking for people who can teach you more and help you understand more about your role in the job that you're doing.
So if you were talking to 20-year-old Aaron, you would say, don't wait for that person and don't wait to be so lucky. Go find somebody on your own.
That's right. And I feel so actually incredibly fortunate that Chuck Stratton, who just died last year at the age of 96, was the one who came to me in that very first day that I was ordained and said, I want to be a mentor to you.
And I'm glad he did. Aaron, thank you. And Aaron is in the mentor database and is available to be your mentor. Thanks again, Aaron. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.